What is up, everybody, and happy Wednesday. Welcome to episode number 30. Can you believe it? Number 30. Everybody give it up.
Still can't believe we made it past the first two.
30.
Remember the first few?
Oh, my God.
Y'all were there on the first three, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Today, we have a very special guest. We have Brian Liu, a badass jiu-jitsu practitioner, entrepreneur, and today we're going to learn about CBD oils, along with his CBD-infused salsa and coffee, which is, let me tell you, is so delicious.
Yeah.
What is up, Brian? Welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Welcome. Well, tell us something good. I know you were going there. What happened? What one thing happened today that was good?
I actually got a text from a buddy who I know had a hard time taking an L this weekend at Tap Cancer Out tournament.
Oh.
You know, he's actually one of the teammates. You know, I feel like I should support him because I encouraged him to try to compete. And then he lost, not by much, man. He was working his way up to a sub, just lost by points. But not familiar with the point system and getting, you know, a little advantage of him, you know, it kind of gets you down. And then being that exhausted, you know, especially these white belts, like, they feel like the life is already gone from them, right? And not even just at the moment, like, they sound like they're affirmative of, like, I'm never competing again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Really?
I wanted to be right there to, like, nip that in the ass. And then, so today, what really is nice is I kind of got a follow-up. It's, like, making sure that, you know, even though I didn't know it was a single elimination, I thought they had another match. But I wanted them to get psyched for the second match and not be, you know, in that mental space with the first L.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice. Love it. Christopher, what's up? Welcome again.
Thank you. I'm excited about this, our guest.
Yeah.
I've had some of his coffee. I've rolled once with you, and that was a lesson.
Is it good?
I learned a lot. I got lost. Came out. I was like, what's happened?
What was that?
But no, it's good. This is good. Now, today at work had an opportunity. We've got people out of the office per se, so I got an opportunity. I felt like to answer a lot of questions and do some tactical decisions, have some very impactful conversations. But overall, great. But I do have a broken heart, man. Elena had a tough day at the gym. She got rolled up pretty hard. So dealing with a kid who has a really big heart and ego sometimes, and then you see a bad day, you're like, "Argh."
Yeah.
But outside that, all good.
It's all good. I mean, it's a learning experience, right? We go through that all the time. I've had times where I drive home, like I didn't even know the windows were rolled down, and I just kind of zombie out, like, what the fuck happened today? Like,
It didn't work.
should I continue to do this? Is it worth it? Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And then, next day it pops back up, and you're like, okay, I'm not going all of next week because
I can let my pride come back.
Gotta find my ego.
Gotta find my ego somewhere.
No. When I have a great day, I don't want to go back because I don't want to risk.
Yes. Breaking the streak.
Yeah.
Breaking the streak. And then if you go like 2-3 days without it, if you have a bad day, I've been in the gym a couple of days. A sequence.
I already know I'm going to be the nail, you know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu is such a weird thing. It's such a love-hate relationship. It's such a wide spectrum. Like, you could just have this day, you're like, oh, I love jiu-jitsu, I love it. And then you have this moment like, hey, professor, I'm thinking about quitting.
Or I really want to like have like a child tantrum, just like full, like, all respect, Tourette's, like just cussing up a dance storm, stomping around, crying. Yeah, because it's great to see the little ones, like the little ones that go through that. They're getting pissed, and it's fun. It's a fun process because deep down inside, that's me going, and then you're just skirting over, and going,
Yeah.
Quick little 30-second pity party tantrum. Yeah.
How about your day?
My day was great.
Yeah,
I woke up. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. You know me. Yeah. I go
simple.
A little.
How's the pillow?
My pillow is great. I'm so happy that you asked about my pillow. You know, I travel with my pillow. Like I cannot.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Like if I
Oh.
go, it gets packed. It gets packed, and it's not a fancy pillow. It's just my pillow. Okay?
Sounds fancy by the way you're talking about it.
No, there's nothing fancy. It's just used in the right places. It has the right,
What?
sort of
What does that mean?
lumps. From supporting my big head. Don't get dirty, all right? All right, Mr. Tabo. Mr. Pelipino Tabo.
See?
Tell us something good.
Well,
Wait, that wasn't Filipino.
Well, Christopher over here threw out an invite at the last episode, and I was thinking, oh, how nice. And you think the things like, oh, I'm going to take him up on that, and I'm going to go work out at 4 freaking a.m. in the morning. But actually, Friday I did not, but kind of thought about it. And then showed up on Monday. It was great. And then showed up this morning. It was great. And so Wednesday's a very...
He's getting there.
Are you
Yeah.
sore?
He's getting there. Sore, yes.
Oh gosh, yeah. I don't know where that's that.
Hey,
I don't
no,
even-
that sounded like he got excited. You quit that.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But just the opportunity is like to challenge myself. So Wednesday is a really productive. Hit the gym with the guys 4 to 5. Get home. Then I got into work early, so it's productive. Hopefully changed some lives today. I don't know. Maybe I messed up some lives with the kids. Went home, took a power nap, spent time with my wife, and then got ready for this special guest.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So really good Wednesday. Love it.
Hey, don't worry about the kids. The therapy will fix them.
Yeah.
Years and years of therapy.
It's just the cost, but that's okay.
But that's not on you anymore. So, Hey, Brian,
Yes, sir.
tell us about CBD, CBD oils, CBB, BBC,
Sure.
all that.
ABC.
ABC.
Yeah, man. So
That's intriguing, by the way. That's why we have to start with that.
I know, and one of those things is like everybody always thinks about, the vape shops, the literally just getting workarounds of how to get a recreational high. I mean, honestly, especially with the influx of people coming in from Colorado and moving in from California, they have a certain expectation, and they're used to some kind of accessibility, but they don't have it here. So it was really easy to see that disconnect. And actually, I came to Austin to be more in DevOps, actually. So I was in a creative producer. I was actually supposed to create a team that would help me create mobile ads down here.
Nice.
So that led to, me kind of bouncing houses here in Austin that people are kind of used to, unfortunately. And then I kind of had enough, at a certain point. I had enough of working for those guys, but I knew since I've created successful startup products and, only got clipped because they start making money, and then, what's the overhead?
Yeah.
Me, So since then, I just kind of used my brain I already knew Texas was bound to happen, right? Everybody's bound to happen. I remember in middle school and high school getting bricks of dro from Mexico and things like that. So I know it's not even, it's not even if, it's always going to be a when, right?
Yeah.
So might as well get myself solidified and not be that over-the-counter, shout out to Planet K, but some of the workers there, being that kind of demographic. No, I want to be able to help answer to your auntie, your grandma, somebody that came back from the service is having like everyday pains or just that level of stress. So actually understanding it from the CBD side made it more of a wellness approach versus learning from the cannabis side and the THC of how we're going to make these dividends in this cash flow, right? So that was kind of like the big difference to me.
Okay.
Another big motivator actually was I actually lost my father to cancer. He had carcinoid cancer in the liver and colon, and eventually in his bone marrow, his spine, it eventually spread.
Sorry.
I wish I knew all this plant medicine side of it, especially the non-THC thing, because everybody talks about cannabis and how it helps all these things, right? But my dad is a very conservative guy, man. Like, there's no way. The only time I was able to even get him to try something was it was like a 5 milligram little mint. Just something like a little Altoid. That was the only thing he would eat. Even if I did a flavorless or even the fruitiest vape or something, for some reason in his mind, he's like, no, it tastes like grass. It tastes like grass. Like, that's just him in his head, right? So, but I wish I would have understood other, parts of the CBD, and this plant has so many other different cannabinoids with so many different attributes. That could have just helped him instead. And he wouldn't have been as afraid to say try those types of therapies instead of, I mean, man, he was like re-upped in like Oxycontin every 45 days, like when he passed away, there was like over 300 count pills. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? Instead,
I could tell you what I could do with it, but we'll do that.
Yeah, right, right.
I'm gonna go do
that could start a jiujitsu gym or start a college fund, right? But instead, it's more of like, wow, this thing was really putting a hole in my dad's stomach. He couldn't enjoy food. It didn't make therapy better.
Man.
But that one little thing that did, like, let me explore that more, at least to be able to help other people. Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, and then so that's really why I got into the CBD.
How do I mean? Because there's stigma.
Yes.
And I mean, it doesn't matter where you're at. I think some countries like Spain that they've dropped it because they're like nationally known to be very aggressive on exploring all the medical benefits of it. They're stripping the plant away. They're doing it all, so it, yes, there is a recreational side of it, and they understand that. But what they're really trying to do is find, like, to your point with cancer, they have found amazing research with different spectrums along that plant, targeting specific types of cancer and it going away.
Right? The medicinal value of
medicinal value without the harmful effects of opioids and what that does not only to the patient, but it puts a target on their back for other people inside their circle of having that abuse, right? So I'm not saying that you can't abuse CBD and all that kind of stuff, but when it's administered like through food or whatever it is, it doesn't provide the high.
Well, it's the high, right?
It's the high, right?
That's actually the main reason. Actually, a good point to why I got into the food. It was mostly because I wanted a way to integrate something into your life that feels normal. You're gonna eat anyway, right? You're gonna add a little sauce onto your fries anyway, right? So why don't that be the dosage that you might need consistently throughout the day, so that way your system is flush and you actually receive all the benefits of cannabinoids, this holistic self-healing, anti-inflammatory, help better circulation, fight any kind of like arthritis and illness that you have,
Brian,
all those kind of angles.
Brian, let me interrupt really quick, because growing up, I was told not to even look at marijuana. It was horrible. It was just like your dad. My parents instilled that. It was the devil. It's the devil.
Devil's lettuce.
It's all of the above. So I mean, we were actually more encouraged to drink alcohol than to right.
Yeah, exactly.
So
right.
how do we go from that perspective to medicinal? Like, what? Tell me the spectrums. What?
Without being it's medicinal. You know what I mean? Because there's
right, absolutely. Like, well, I always believe that every living mammal has the endocannabinoid system in your body. Yeah. So we actually have to have it flushed. Now, it being flush actually has your like different benefits depending on everybody, right? Yep. That's why it's also, it's unfortunately you have to say it's like a snowflake, because it's also like dietary needs. Some people are going to be allergic to certain things or have certain reactions to foods that others won't, right? It's different ecosystems. But overall, once you find the combo, the amount of dosage, maybe it's not just CBD, it's maybe CBG and CBN, these other cannabinoids that are coming up to help your body and mind. But with that combination, you feel things that like say, hey, I'm feeling less 2 p.m. crashes. I'm feeling more in tune and awake with my mind, right? I feel like even some of the recovery time is helping, like almost like ain't no fountain of youth. There's nothing like that. But you don't feel like you would be dragged through what inflammation usually does to your body.
Hey, real quickly, there is a fentanyl youth. You're looking at him.
Yeah, he's been around. We have confirmed he's been around at least 1,000 years.
Yeah.
It was pre-birth certificates. He just showed up.
He's
Well,
saying-
We can do some carbon dating off of like some
We
like,
ju-
skin
we
cells.
just
Yeah.
re-
I don't know if it
Yeah.
goes back that far, but we'll try.
according to last episode, he kind of checked into Earth around 1952 somewhere.
Birth
in there.
certificate was chiseled out.
Chiseled,
It's pain
yeah.
in the ass.
He
Bring that
invented
to the
fire.
DMV.
Where,
And the wheel
Dude, it was cold.
twice.
yeah, where I'd like to, where I'd like to see, like, unfortunately, where I'd like to see policy is. The makers is honestly sometimes get out of the way and let the people who like have the not just the brains behind it but a passion because they know and they've seen it works. It's not witchcraft, it's not the snake oil, it's nothing, right? We have cannabinoids like you're talking about already in our system, depending like you're talking about your diet, how you sleep, and all that. Also, either cover or uncover certain parts of that spectrum. So even if you do find a CBD that does connect with you, depending on how well you live, eat, and clean, you can experience or unlock, as they say, like it's like a key.
Right, unlock.
Unlock.
Right. Tell us about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, because
How's that?
And then tell us. God, I got so many questions. CBD,
It's all good, man.
CBG,
I can always come back. You know what I'm saying?
CBD, CBG, CBN.
Yeah. So those are actually from my understanding, the cannabis plant itself, cannabis and hemp, exact same thing.
Okay.
Let's just talk about like
Yeah,
that.
it is.
All right.
Yep.
And let's take the easiest analogy, which fortunately, because I've been so into sauce and peppers, peppers is a perfect analogy, right? CBD can be more of a bell pepper versus you have THC as a jalapeno,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
You think about it's the same genetics, but there are different strains of
Yeah.
it that creates different attributes of it.
Yeah.
So think about that right now with THC and CBD. Now, when you come with CBG and CBN, these are other new ones that are actually one of, I think they predict around like 120 cannabinoids actually in the plant that can be extracted from hemp plants, from cannabis, and then have their own actual medicinal value. Say CBN as the same things as a nootropic that you would think THC does for you, help you fall asleep, stay asleep, anti-anxiety. And then CBG. CBG is actually what I always use as like a pre-workout actually.
No, like caffeine.
Yeah, I would actually take some CBG
Yeah.
flour, roll it up in my blunt, and then go lift. So like it is something that actually helps as an anti-inflammatory. It helps anybody, especially with chronic pain.
Yeah.
This definitely helps a lot with that as well because I've definitely talked with people with MS, fibromyalgia,
Yep.
and it's not just the CBD, but a high concentrated amount of CBG that's helped them manage their everyday symptoms.
No way.
Wow. So hold on. I got more questions.
Yeah,
It's
it's fine, it's fine,
We're
man.
just going down this rabbit hole. So you take this right before you go to train
Okay.
to do jujitsu.
Hey, real quick.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you the same question.
Yes.
Do you take a pre-workout before you go work out?
I do not.
You do not. So you don't take any like caffeine. Do you take any
No.
BCAAs or supplements?
Nope. Just
So-
take some pink Himalayan salt.
Oh yeah, he's a salt guy.
Scoop of
Hey,
that.
do you know that we should ban pink Himalayan salt?
My God.
Oh my
No, they use child labor
Oh, it's
in the mines.
and it's pink because of the blood.
No, you
Yeah,
know what?
but-
People are activists against the diamond mines, but no one knows about what people do to harvest that pink salt.
Oh, you're being serious.
No, I was kidding. Just like I do every other like 5 episodes, dude.
I'm gonna go get.
He tries to get himself in
I
trouble.
actually have heard about that because I've
Oh, really? Is
Yeah.
it true? I
No,
would feel
because-
horrible
Or
if
no,
it's true.
it's more of like it's,
my
it's these
gosh.
cultures that
Yeah.
like
Oh,
because
okay.
they are there,
Yep.
Yeah.
it's more of just exploiting like labor. But they do that everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got other because I actually
Ask
Well,
there's a
Beyonce in her
specific pink
shoes.
salt
That's
that I
Walmart.
actually get from Colorado. And they've actually found it in the mountains to be able to do the same. And their mission was so that way you don't have to go to these other areas and kind of exploit them. Plus, USA.
You want to know the one group that doesn't get enough publicity about being exploited, which is really sad? Teachers.
Yeah.
Oh, I could talk about that all day too,
Okay,
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife is actually a program director out in Avery Ranch for Challenger School.
Oh,
Oh.
nice.
And I've watched her be from like
Passionate
after school tutor intern to there, and now she's program director, man. So
That's awesome.
That's why I can be a stay-at-home dad, and my hustle
Explorer,
isn't
yeah.
as important as it used to be. I can actually switch roles to be more of a present father, homemaker, and the
That's
guy
awesome.
who you're getting all this food from.
Yeah. So that's later. That's another segment because the food infused with that's something else. But tell me about this jujitsu. So pre-workout jujitsu.
Yeah. So definitely, like, I've always been a person where it's hard to tune things out. I'm very, I know it's like people say it's like ADHD, right? But I do have like that kind of engineer in mind where if I don't see the plan all the way through, I'm going to drive myself crazy.
Yeah.
Which also makes me very undisciplined in the gym. So I found this similar to any time I'm doing an active, like a physical activity. If I actually medicate, I'm actually more in tune and concentrated on it. I know the always classics, like everybody's like lounging back and they're all tired. I'm like, nah, today's the day I hit 500. Okay, I want this PR. Right, that was like basically my 20s, trying to chase a 500 PR deadlift. But
Oh wow.
that was really like, then I know it as well as, even if it's not a pre-workout to say actually working, my mind is focused. So I will go and then do the week's worth of work, like in an hour or two.
So this is with
CBG is something with your body, right? Yeah.
Writing it down.
And there's the CBD. I mean, I'll usually say like CBD is kind of like a generic ammo.
Yeah.
You don't really know exactly what it's doing. It's just flushing your system enough that your system then can decide where it needs it the most.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
That's why there's some people, like, if in generality, if somebody takes CBD but they're having anxiety, right? Then your body makes it more of a nootropic for you, right?
Yes.
And leans to it. But if you needed a supplemented where it's still overwhelming, then you have the other cannabinoid CBN, which helps you bring down. And what I say, it's one of those things that helps you turn off the switches. CBD, if you have a chronic pain or it's something that you're managing, that will definitely help you with your symptoms and give you ammo, so that way your body is actually doing the healing instead of relying on a medicine. It's actually giving your ammo, to mask it, basically. I mean, that's what pharmaceuticals sometimes is, right?
Yeah.
So this is more giving your body ammo, so that way it can heal itself.
Yeah.
And then CBG just helps a little bit more of the symptoms of the anti-inflammatory, get the circulation going better and things like that. And it's really interesting. There are a lot of people who think that I smoke THC, I'm going to have a good night's sleep, and then they wake up and they still feel like a train wreck.
Yeah.
Well, you actually didn't go to sleep.
Yeah,
You actually been high the entire time.
Yeah.
You thought you were sleeping,
Yeah.
and your brain didn't actually turn off. That's why CBN is becoming the new thing, because it's supposed to do the same thing, help you ease off into that REM, but you're actually in REM. You're not in this floating,
middle
dream
stage.
state
Yep.
where you're not really sleeping or getting into deep rest, because technically you're high.
Yeah.
So that's THC.
That's
Yeah.
just the classic THC.
Yeah.
You know.
AKA too much alcohol, right?
yeah, same.
I mean, kind of same thing, right? Like you ride lightning if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even, with alcohol, there is responsible use. It's just unfortunate, though, that even due to the science that's out there is proven otherwise, like people have gotten in the way because of their own interests to prevent it, right?
That's weird. It's like science versus stigma with a lot of things, So you have this stereotype that goes back all the way back to, I believe it's when...
I do feel, though, and I hope it is within like my lifetime, I do feel that there are doctors who are now like, some of them are more into the fitness side, right?
Yes.
More into like understanding like, no, this is actually how you prevent a lot of the disease, right? Right?
Yeah, preventative care is definitely one of the biggest things. Yeah.
Yeah, so you got the...
Like just on regular healthcare side, like you see it all day, where now instead of being retroactive, you're being proactive about health, right?
And I hope that does become reality, because there's a large group and it's kind of cool to see the statistic of how many are starting to join annually. They're like, whoa. No, we don't we don't need the pharmaceutics. We can
Yes.
we can do a lot with just our body and getting moving, and then but they're also more open to like, no, we have actually natural things that you can just eat, consume.
Yeah, something as simple as like the right foods. Okay,
Yes.
you don't like this food, well, here's another alternative to get you that same
Yeah.
mineral and resource, right?
Yes.
It's
And
getting
then
smarter
and then
about it.
finding and then understanding the resource behind like the CBD, CBDNs, the spectrum of it is like allowing that as it's, you know, our body, our choice. Like, I don't want to put poison in my body to fix something, but
unless it's by choice, right?
right,
That's
unless
it.
it's by choice, right? Right.
Yes, sir.
This is by choice, but I do not do medications. I don't go to the doctor on purpose because of that. Like, a leave is about the most I'll, ever consume. Because there's a lot of stigma behind that. Like, even bringing up at work, like, oh, hey, I found like a CBD that's helping me sleep.
Oh, you're
right.
You're a pothead.
Yeah.
You're a pothead.
Yeah,
See,
yeah. So that for me, I hope in my lifetime becomes a different narrative.
I really think it already is.
Okay.
Actually,
it is
personally,
changing.
I do things where like I actually volunteer to do lunch and learns at senior centers. Right. I don't know if you've noticed, but in the Austin area, as our development's going, there's a lot of senior living communities, apartments, right? Yeah. But it's just like growing, and they're never short of needing activities, as I find out. So
we can go back.
That's a different podcast. Yes, but I would agree.
But I actually
I'm gonna set up Toastmasters meeting there. They'll listen.
So
Ryan's coming home with like a big old wad of ones.
I got a story about that too. But
I got a question.
Sure.
I'm just trying to. I know we got a list that you've provided. How do we find you? How do we connect?
Right now on Instagram, I'm at Cannabis Tech Guru.
Cannabis Tech. See, the name says it all. That's why.
I come from a tech background, man. If you want to own that SEO, have the name first.
That's a great point.
A lot of people get afraid and everything, but it's also my second account, so I know there's a few aunties that not following it, so I don't have to worry about it. Nah. But even my mom knows that this is my hustle. So she follows me, she reshares me all the time. She even I'm the first generation here in the U.S. So still coming from immigrant parents to be that strict, and then all of a sudden knowing that it doesn't matter because she knows how hard I work. As she says, the report card's on my kid's face. My wife's happy with the job. So whatever I do to hustle is kind of just so I don't go crazy. She knows that. So having that, it's kind of making it comfortable. So I've been using Instagram as more of a tool to show or destigmatize, like I'm not that stoner that you think it is. I'm getting stuff done. And by the way, if you need help getting to this kind of level of peace, having aid with your body or whatever this plant can do, just slide into my DMs, man. I welcome it.
Well, yeah, when I met you at that event, right? The like the contrast therapy heroes event. And I did not understand it. And I heard, I mean, for decades, right? We've heard about this CBD stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the devil, right? I stay away. But then the way you explained it, I'm like, okay, I'll give this a shot. And it's funny, I got the CBD and the CB and the nighttime oil.
Yeah, you got the oils, correct?
Yeah, the oils.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yeah, just put it under your tongue and just let it sit there. And I did. I followed the instructions to the T, and man, what a difference. I already went through 2 bottles.
Oh,
and it's
okay,
been
great.
it's been like a month and a half. So
yeah, that's about the
So I just
right
do
dosage.
the little drops at night, and it's been so helpful. And I'll admit it, I felt a little devious when I was doing it at first. I go, yeah, I'm dangerous. But obviously, now that I'm understanding the science, it's not that. It's not the THC.
Yeah, the oil actually comes from a very rich history of when cannabis was just extracted and pressed into these oils and then given to especially cancer patients when we really didn't have these extraction processes yet, right?
Wow.
So now you go to an extraction lab and it literally looks like that Breaking Bad underground lab with like beakers that are 5 to 10K a piece, having all this extraction being boiling to a certain temperature to be then distilled so you get a specific cannabinoid out of the plant as a mass.
Yeah.
So it's like it's such a science now that that's why we're talking about different levels of all the way to pharmaceutical grade labs that are able to give you this clean process and extraction.
Wow.
Are
Ooh, look
there
at that.
are there
Pulled it
different
up.
are there differences between like cold extraction benefits versus like a hot extraction?
There's just different methods. I mean, a lot more is not really like hot and cold.
Yeah.
Right now, the name of the game is how is the cleanest way to get it out of it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, classically, there's a lot of ethanol involved, and if the ethanol doesn't like evaporate or there's other solvents in it, you taste that at the end.
Yep.
Whatever you do in the process, you will taste it at the end. So I think now we're at a point where not only efficiency to get the most out of your actual product and the flower, and then getting extracted, I think it's like much more efficient now of what you can do in the amounts that then you can make into hundreds and thousands of products afterwards.
Wow. That's
so
really cool.
but yeah, oil has a huge history because it used to be basically the underground cancer medicine, tumor shrinker, and you don't hear about it from any medical professionals. You only hear it from peer to peer from either existing patients, relatives of patients, or ex-patients, hopefully, right? And then from there, it's always been acceptable to have the oils. And then something about this plant, it's fat soluble, so it has to attach to a fat oil. It can't be done in any water or anything like that. So far, most of the tinctures that you see is actually MCT oil, right? That's been the easiest way to get the thinnest amount of oil acceptable to swash around your tongue, but be able to pack as high as you almost like legally can concentration into that medium.
Cool.
So those drops, that's MCT oil.
MCT oil, generally, And the thing is, like, why we say underneath your tongue is because
Sublingual,
the sublinguals, the things that are connective directly to your brain, and then the oil itself will then just slowly in a digestive, being a fat, you have a lot more different parts of your digestive tract than has chance to absorb, what's actually in it.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
And guess what? I didn't know any of this shit 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That this is all by offering my intelligence from my tech side and whatever I does as a business consultant, and then basically intelligence trade, so that way I would learn more and more. Thus, you let me be more and more involved in your manufacturing processes. Who do we activate with? I mean, we mentioned physicians. I've been in circles where now physicians want to open up clinics that also have the retail right in the back, right? Get your license in the front, check out in the back. But, they're getting smarter upon it. So it's not just, people who are looking for this as a revenue. There are people ready to set up shop.
Yeah, and what's interesting is as recent as a couple of years ago, like 3 to 5 years, like when I went to visit my brother in California, there's chocolates, there's popcorn, there's gummies.
Yep.
But like what you have been doing is with your coffee, which the coffee is just
I like the coffee.
And the sauces and the other things. Is that something that's relatively new and you're kind of like on the front of that storm, or it's just was it just easier to put it into gummies and chocolates and all that? But why not more of like the sauces and the things that you've gone to? I'm just trying to understand why you've jumped to this.
No,
type
absolutely.
of product.
Gummies have always been a revenue maker, right? It's always revenue. So if you think about like all the legal
Vitamins,
states, they're technically not really. If you go to a recreational dispensary, you'll say maybe less than 10% of their inventories has CBD in it, right? Because they want the dividends of what is to sell THC.
Yeah.
Now, when you come to any other like that in general, then just flushes where the perception is, right? If I eat an edible, just that word edible, right, already has a stigma by itself, right? So that's what's also hard. But I thought, okay, well, if ingestion is a lot of times simpler, then why don't we find other mediums for ingestion, right? Yeah. And then furthermore, I don't know how many, especially when we come into the senior community, where like they tell me, oh, but I'm diabetic, like I can't even have these. I'm like, okay, well, I look around, there's still not a lot of you're not going to give this lady a joint to smoke. She's not going to want to do that, right? So it started made me think of like, okay, what else is out there, and also how does it work if they have to just make it on their own, right? It would have to be something that you could give them in a few steps, almost like a Keurig K-cup, right? And they'd just be able to create the perfect dosage on their own, right? They don't eliminate the think work for them. That's, I mean, dosage is the most intimidating thing for most people.
But you would order your K-cups.
Yeah, like
right?
just come to, because like
I'm
the one talking about it, right?
They'd pre-dosed, and
you know exactly, you know exactly what I preach for the benefits that you're aiming. This was my suggested product. Yeah. And then now, if I have that audience, more of my idea of my company is not to actually end up creating these products and selling them out there. I got 2 kids. That's too exhausting, man. Yeah. There's no way I can do that at scale and be able to drop everything when the kid's sick or something like that, right? Yeah. Or my wife needs backup and school's too busy. So what I thought about is let's find other brands that want to create these things, other cafes, other food spots, food courts, food trucks, you know. Yeah. So that way they enable their brand, and all I'm doing is adding another SKU to them. But they at least are smart enough of like, okay, this is what's going to work. This is what's not going to work in your product. This is where we can get it from. And then here's some guarantees that you can give to, you know, at least the compliance-wise, because there's also like advertising laws and things when it comes to CBD. But this is how you navigate, and this is how you make sure that everybody knows that this is your product. It's infused. And who knows, that might get interest into, now that I've been dealing with them, like, you know, everybody has gummies, like you said. Everybody has vapes. Everybody has these oils, right? But not many people have sauces. Not many people
Speaking
have
of sauces,
coffee, you know?
No, and
this sauce
is good.
So what you're saying is that you're basically white labeling this, so you can slap any brand on here.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or anything that you make.
Yeah.
I can help you infuse it.
Oh wow! Hey, imagine
so, like, if we had a sauce.
If you had your own sauce. Yeah. And then, you know, I'm always good. I'm always like, you know, let's sign an NDA. Let's recipe swap. I basically help with not only the recipe but the process to make it as shelf stable as long as we can.
I got
that way it can get to market.
Let's say corn tortillas.
Yellow corn tortillas.
Jeez.
I do have a sauce, but it will have to be talked offline.
I was thinking of a soy sauce.
No, that's amazing, right?
So
because it gives, like, there's people out there who are like chefies, right? I'm the same way. Like I feel like in our house, like I like creating dishes for my family, and it drives me. It puts a big old smile when like my daughter says I have magic fingers. What do you mean I have magic fingers? She's like, because whatever you cook is always blah 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 blah, really good. But I know there's sauces I've made over time that I'm like, ooh, that's really good. And I would be like, who do I know that would, hey, would this sauce work? And then whatever happens, right? But I've never had a person like that. So I've had some of these ideas, and I'm like, oh,
could you do it?
Right, and I would, to your point, I would hope I bet there's like hundreds of me out there that are like, hey.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to do, because I mean, like, coming from like a business consultative, coming from where I am usually in like that CTO type like helm of any type of startup, but I also know how to think of like, okay, the CEO needs to present XYZ for there, and the COO needs to operate all these things.
Okay.
That's why when I'm thinking in these conscious, it's like if you're thinking of product, don't think about the one end or your end result or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I have the same problem talking and trying to enable retailers. Like, if you're having trouble with foot traffic, especially post-COVID, you know, why don't you expand into other ideas? You know, having the coffee actually allowed me to start introducing myself to a bunch of different dispensaries. And then if said these coffees were being served hot and fresh, we'd be able to get on DoorDash for to-go and delivery. As long as I have a valid payment gateway, it's good to go. But guess what that does for you? All those cookies and brownies that you have packaged in your store, that's expiration date, add it to the add-on. So that way, coffee is already going to be searched. It's going to be a bonus if it's infused. And then if you have dying inventory, why don't you put it on so that way you have a way to just keep everything fresh inside, have more interest, and before you know it, you have a different angle instead of competing like everybody else that says CBD, Delta 8, all this other stuff. But now you have infused coffee, infused sauces, eventually maybe salad dressings and whatever you need to go, because the rules are different for food when it's infused with CBD than an actual, say, like caterer or food managers. And for example, I got my hemp retail license in like 2-3 weeks. You know, probably took me 3 months to get my food manager's license finally. You know, in Austin, right? So like that's the kind of thing where it's crazy. And as long as I'm doing everything legal by the rules of everything I'm using, I just hack the system. You know, now let's share the recipe to everybody else. So hopefully it enables them to think of me or want to start a product.
Hell yeah. Dude, that's so cool.
That is fantastic.
Like
Wow.
talk about positive enablement, right?
Yeah.
Like that. So thank you. That's awesome. That's real cool.
Yeah, and actually, like bringing that, I mean, jiu-jitsu has given me a lot of opportunities to even if it's not even like in the CBD realm, right?
Yeah.
You still have an idea, you still have a product. I love letting somebody pick my brain, and then I will do that 21 questions, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm used to running discoveries for even multi-million-dollar projects that are streaming on Apple TV, because I built the apps and stuff like that.
Okay.
I didn't build the. I'm usually an architect. You know, getting the requirements, getting everybody up to plan, getting the team who has to build the thing. Everybody sign off. You got the contract. I get my commission. Let's go and get it out the door. So having that kind of background and being in jiu-jitsu has been awesome, because I know everybody has these ambitions that they want to do. Right.
Right.
I know Joe shares some things like
Yeah,
that. Right.
he's gonna help.
But
you
let
with
me
something,
let me help you before you say even put $1 towards this thing. Did you try to explore everything that might be your downfall, or things that you may not be prepared for, or even getting you areas of gray that you're going to have to prepare for the unknown, right? And still be okay with it, right? Nothing is ever going to be 100%. But, you know, giving back also to these guys who are like kicking my ass and making me such a stronger roller, I can at least give him back my brain. And I think, you know, you find a lot of intelligent people in this sport.
Oh, yeah.
So like,
we talked
you
about
know what I
it
mean?
last
So like,
talked
podcast.
about
so it's
this.
super easy then that once you're enabling them, and maybe like they're getting frustrated about like one or two minute details, but I've already been in this rodeo as young as I am for quite some time. So it's easy to give them 2 cents, you know, of advice for free.
Yeah.
You know, I love giving advice for free.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
very
giving
cool.
advice for free, because
'Cause then
it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Because until you actually ask me to do work, why are you paying me?
Right.
I'm just being someone who's sharing the love, right?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be as everybody's trying to keep the secrets, keeping their job safe, you know, and instead of enabling the person next to you, above you, below you, because you never know what's going to happen at the end, or when it might be to your favor, be, you know, a connection you need in the future.
I
Never know.
I love that.
And then
I
too,
really do.
working above and below as well as we have a good example for us out. Like I do commercial construction, right? And there's promotion. It's competitive, right? But I've been in situations in that job and others where like, hey, cool, who's gonna take your spot? And there's a lot of guys standing around empty-handed, like, that person, right? So they lost a chance to develop somebody to take their spot, right? So if you don't have an option, then they're going to go to the next guy like, hey, who's going to take your place? And you're like, hey, I got this person right here. Man, they're jam up. We got them on this blah, blah, blah training plan. They've got this qualification coming up, right? So, like, man, if I'm able to take this next opportunity, she can step into this place, take this project over and run with it, right? It be, like you said, share the knowledge, right? Because advice is free, but in return, you know, that relationship could develop to like,
and it's just simple. It's that mindset of abundance.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like here, and it'll come back.
Yeah.
It will. It always does.
Yeah, or help someone on their journey.
Yeah.
You know, karma is a great thing. With jiu-jitsu, though, and that's a common thread, I'm always interested finding out, like, what brought you to jiu-jitsu? How did you come into it?
how many years?
Yeah, how many years? What
Bro,
belt
I
are
was
you?
getting fat as fuck.
That's one. Okay.
The dad bod was crazy real. After the first one, oh my God, man.
What year is this? Like, how long ago?
Okay, so I started training a little bit over 3 years ago. It seems I was at another school, but you know, I was always interested in grappling since, you know, I was always watching UFC and, you know, different guys, like just being in the octagon, that kind of like combat sports always interested me. It felt like grappling would be the smartest one based on kind of my interest. And also people like already told me engineers like being in jiu-jitsu.
Yes, they do.
Right? So like, yeah. So, you know, being in that, I mean, just doing... I mean, I was at a place that was mostly warm-ups, right? But, you know, that still got my ass back into shape.
Yeah.
You know, at the time, I was kind of dealing with figuring out my next career move, and this is, like, moving away from technology. And to be honest, that shit got pretty dark, right? Because it's supporting your wife to have the job that she really wants. You have the kid on the way or the kid here. Right, you got everyday bills and things like that, and when you've always been classically the breadwinner, to make sure that you know she don't got to worry about a thing, and then I come here and I have to worry about jobs, it gets stressful.
Yeah.
Right. I was even in a marketing agency where the same weekend I found out I was dead, I was fired, and what I did, I went straight to go 60 hours Ubering a week, you know, just to make it happen.
Yeah.
And at the time, my wife wasn't a teacher yet; she was actually. Selling purses at the Coach in the Round Rock outlet, right? So then I even took, you know, some people know this story. I usually took her discount when it came time for it. I would buy a bunch of purses, and then the off times of not being in an Uber Lyft downtown in Austin when I live in Round Rock, I just sell purses out of the back of my car. Whatever it did, I don't care, because that plus food stamps still paid for all the medical bills, all the doctor bills, and things like that.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, but having that is definitely working all the time. I was eating a lot of McDonald's between these like lifts and stuff like that, right? Because it's also a free bathroom, right?
Hey, real quickly, do you like the fillet of fish?
I love the fillet of fish.
That's
Up to the
something-
point
Johnny
where
would
like
that. Okay.
shout out to like if you ever go to Hong Kong, they got the double fish fillet.
Yes, we were
right?
talk-
And then
yes.
they will also deliver it to your office if you want. Just saying. Shout out to McDonald's in Hong Kong.
Yeah, the fillet of fish. Okay. Johnny would appreciate it. Johnny, you're not here, but I
2
had
weeks
asked
in
that
a
for
row
him.
I've had to hear that poisonous name, but okay.
Poisonous name,
You
yes.
know.
Poisonous name.
It's kind of similar to how people thought about CBD, but you'll come around.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So
You know what? This is different kind of poison. I'm okay. with
see,
that.
see, it's perception,
Perception. Yeah.
right?
But McDonald's, that's not even.
Okay, time out. If alcohol had the same medicinal purposes, you know how much further advanced we would be in society? They purposely put this stuff out here to dumb people down, so then you need all the pills to dumb yourself down further, right? They don't. Unfortunately, the policymakers are more in the greed of making sure that you don't succeed. You need to be reliable, right? Where I like that. I can choose or choose not to, just on how, like, all right, man, I've had a long week of jiu-jitsu and working out and work. I may put more
Make some eggs
sauce
and
on
rice
my
and
wings,
clean it
right?
with that stuff.
Right, and then, but like on a Monday, you know, need some caffeine, need a boost, need to go. I need help with sleep, you know. But when you look at that, like in the morning for workout, I supplement. I try to stay away from the heavier caffeine ones. Like I do kind of nerd out. Like I do like a good clean supplement. I I'm not big on flavors on a lot of stuff, so additives essentially. I do like this approach though because
Yes.
like there's a lot, man. I don't even finish a full shaker of stuff, man. I get burnt out on. I'm like, man, I could taste the sugars, taste all the other stuff. I'm like, that would be like bagel, toasted, English muffin, or waffles. Like that on peanut butter waffles, that little sweet and heat.
Oh yeah, chicken and waffles. Oh man, I was thinking eggs and rice with that. I mean,
Are you spam?
hungry.
Are you spam guy? You like spam?
Oh, I love a good spam.
I figure yeah.
I was not a spam person.
Nope.
until
I'm not either.
wife. Now I make it all the time.
No,
like,
you do?
Yeah, because my son is always like, "Dad, make me that fried rice with the good meat, like, with the good meat." I'm like, "Yo, you don't know that's not the good meat. That's not."
Hey,
I don't think I've ever had
you sir. I should like we should like carve a monument somehow. You have blessed your child. That is amazing because like yeah, it's the good meat because like. You can continually blow your kid's mind for the rest of his life, right? You just step it up one notch, and you're like, "Oh my god!"
my kids, I'm pretty sure it's just because it's just crispy ham.
Yeah,
and then
crispy ham. Yeah.
And then they already know the smell of bacon. Like as soon as that thing is on, all of a sudden my son is not in his la la land in his room. He comes into the kitchen and he's like, I smell something.
I think bacon and like boys like waking up.
Yeah.
Could you like? Okay, you're the expert. Like, feed a pig all the CBD stuff, and I'm trying to think
infuse the meat before it's infused.
And then when you have the bacon, it's naturally
infused,
CBD infused.
No,
smoked.
It doesn't
candy
technically
bacon.
work like that.
I don't have
But
the
I
science
will
background.
tell you that from what I'm aware of is that the United States actually used to serve our cattle hemp. And the legend says is that is the reason why we have also that generation of very strong built Americans who had that milk every day and free from school, right? But it was more that the cows are super healthy because their cannabinoid systems were flush by a byproduct, and it was actually cheaper to produce hemp as a
feed source
than anything else. And then that's why we said that like some of their generations are a little bit beefier than the subsequent because they stopped doing it.
I think we have a business idea we need to talk about.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on chickens.
Add it to the list, man.
Hey, I would say on your bacon though,
another egg in the basket.
Could you on the bacon side when you're doing the curing process? Could you infuse it at that point?
You could either do a honey or a salt afterwards, but
not during the cure.
It just has to be. Well, it's more. I'm worried about anything with direct heat.
So in the cure,
if it touches it with direct heat, then it's going to instant evaporation. So
so on the cure side, it would be on cold as it's curing.
Yeah.
So then,
I mean, you could do it technically if you got certain fats into like a salumi or something like that. You would be able to do that.
Okay.
But see, this is why I tell my wife, just let me get that deli slicer.
Oh, the same conversation.
She does not want me to have that deli slicer.
Well, I will say this: like, I have not had the balls to bring that up, but I do like mentally shop for deli slicers. You know how nice? Because like I like window pane meat.
Yes.
Yes. Like the lady when I'm like, can you do like a half? She's like rolls her eyes, and because she knows she's gonna be like for like a full day trying to get a pound, but that makes a better sandwich.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh wait, hold on.
Not thick.
That thick makes a better sandwich. Thicker.
No.
Yes.
Cold or hot?
Cold or hot. It doesn't matter. You gotta have that nice thick where you're biting into it and it's like kind of like spam. I'm sorry. Hey.
I say it depends on the deli.
And no-gi jujitsu is not jujitsu.
We have a guy here. We have a guy here who teaches at 10th Planet.
Hey, I told you he comes across.
I just started. I don't teach. I'm just trying to learn the system.
And real quickly, before we move on to our last part is, so 3 years. What belt level are you?
I got my blue last December.
Oh, I would wrist.
Nice.
I would wrist lock the. Fuck.
You would wrist lock nobody.
And then you would need that CBD. I go, I'm going to give you a reason to get some CBD tonight, but wrist lock tap.
You would even wrist lock or attempt to wrist lock Mark Zuckerberg, and I think by now he could
we'll
probably
bring him
whoop
next time. Mark
both of us.
Zuck.
He's probably on some high.
I got black eyes. Shut up, dude.
Damn.
That's
Sorry,
training.
Joe gets off track sometimes.
It's okay. It's okay. I've listened to the podcast before.
But
But y'all made it to 30, right?
Yeah.
That's fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, just saying.
It took 30 to get here, so that's awesome.
And real quickly, I love the fact that actually we have someone on the podcast actually listens to it.
Yeah. That's. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
So what we have
Please
here-
critique this episode and just fill our comment box up.
He's probably just been like, I can set these guys up with these guys and do this, and we can just blow this thing up, and we could get like at least 50 listeners per episode.
Hey, we are trying really hard for HEB because I'm telling you right now.
I love you, HB. Please.
Number one question
Please.
that I get is like, would you ever leave the state of Texas? I'm like, do they got an HEB? And they're like, no. I'm like, sorry, babe. No.
Yeah, I'm from California, moving out here. I love HEB.
Yeah.
So since you watched the episode, you know what this is, the magic box,
box.
of affirmators. So you will pull a card off the top or anywhere, and then you will read it to us, and we will see the magic happen.
Sure.
We should have like a soft drum roll.
You will make the best effort to read it.
Yeah.
His is going to be CBD oil.
I'd run. I'd be like, no, I'm done.
All right, baby.
All right, let's
Hit
go.
us.
Let's go.
Title and everything, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Guidance.
Ooh. Sorry.
I don't know, but my ears look good.
Like, that's a good card.
I feel like I need a cigarette.
Yes.
I will willingly turn to my elders for guidance and respect the wisdom they share with me. It's that sort of wisdom that can really teach me something, because wisdom, like that, is only earned when someone makes a mistake. So maybe I can be wise enough to ask their opinion and not go through the trouble of screwing up. Karmic shortcuts are cool.
Bam.
Damn.
Bam. I'm taking a photo of that one, and I'm
Mic
sharing
drop.
that at our this is our weekly team project
That's
meeting.
kinda
That one's
perfect,
going
right?
right there.
That's
That
kinda
perfect.
Drop.
Like I said, like this, I mean, honestly, guidance is biggest thing I can give back to this community,
Yeah.
right?
Hell yeah.
It's giving me so much tools to manage my stress, especially being an entrepreneur, really like making sure that not only my stress levels are good, but there's no outlet anger to my family. That's another thing that helps me. So if I can give other people guidance, you know, whether it's business, whether it's dad hacks, you know, whether it's ideas to what to do to take out your wife or something like that, or something sweet you can do, right? I'm always down to just, you know, this is something I did back in the day. This is something I heard, you know, like, you know, just being there for somebody to bend an ear and not, though, just be a wall, like actually listen and then give something back. Like, I love doing that stuff in this community.
You, sir, are an amazing individual, and so grateful to have met you. I'm so
Thank you.
glad you're here.
Yeah, you get. I mean, like, thanks for trusting me to get in your podcast. I think we've kind of already made this nice bond, and you know, thank God for Coffee Crew, right? Otherwise, we would have really
Shout
met
out
each
to
other.
Coffee
But
Crew. Coffee
having that
Crew.
vibe, though, like, is literally the vibe that I've been finding success in. Not only people that I can be on the mat, but you know, that I would actually bring my family around off the mat.
Yeah.
You know, so that kind of vibe was really important to me, and I really appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
Very cool.
Another
Man,
thing
I'm
we
looking-
like is when we have people in from our gym or kind of we meet or someone from Coffee Crew is just like learning the story too. Because
Yeah.
again,
Yep.
We've
every
had some
person,
interesting people.
it's just
yeah.
like everyone out there has a story. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be rich, but everyone has like a cool story, and it's really neat. As you know, hear your story. It's kind of cool. Like I even think like
Damn.
even because I'm
I'll
like,
tell
hey,
you what, it's inspiring.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna,
I mean,
wanna
here's the
fucking-
coffee guy,
I
just
gotta-
shit and sauce. I'm like, this guy's badass. And I hear all these other things that I hear you speak about. I'm like, okay, this guy is,
Right.
yeah, this guy's badass.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Good
that.
stuff. As we wrap this up, we're gonna say some parting words. We'll start with our wonderful
Hell yeah.
guest.
I just want to say that I know a lot of people are out there are like working hard at what they do. A lot of people get frustrated, especially when they don't even see the results, or sometimes it gets lonely thinking about an idea that you want for yourself. Just know that there's always going to be people out there that are willing to share the same feelings that you're having. They're willing to share what they think that you could do, right? A lot of people are afraid of getting themselves out there because of what's coming back. But, it's only good stuff for you. The criticisms, the opinions, the support, it doesn't matter. It all builds you up. So just remember that and keep going.
That's right. Nice. Good stuff. And it goes right back to this affirmative, right? Turn to your elders for guidance. So a lot of people have already done this. So, reach out. And speaking of reaching out, how can they reach you?
So you can find me on Instagram for Cannabis Tech Guru. I also run the handle of Victorious Cafe Co-op. And then, be sure to see there because, I kind of been having a little fire under my belly, and I'll definitely be posting these upcoming super fights. And
Hell yeah.
I don't know, man. I kind of feel like I want to do ADCC.
Woo!
I don't know. I'm not 40 yet, so I mean, let's see what's good.
Yeah, that one's. I'll be honest. That one's tingling my ears.
It was tingling mine too. It's
at
weird.
46, I'm like, this would be like the one and last time I do this. I just want to test the waters.
Yeah, exactly. You
Right?
know, that's because like if you're already used to failing and the feeling of suck, what's to add to the pile?
But I will say this, I feel like I'm very new at the jiu-jitsu, the culture, the lifestyle. Like I'm still learning about this, but that would be like the pinnacle of comps that I would be like, hey, I did try to go push myself and try you know what I mean? IBJJF I hold in high regard, but there's also one for ADCC that I hold in high regard. And if I take myself and go throw myself on the mat, good, bad, or the ugly, at least I know hey, I tried, right?
Good.
But then there could be hey, I surprised myself. But
Absolutely.
even just getting to stepping on the mat, that's
a win. That's a huge win. That's one thing I learned in jiu-jitsu. It's not the win or lose. It's nice to medal on that, but what you do to put yourself there and when you step on the mat, that is awesome.
Do it. There's nothing worse than the pain of regret.
Right.
True story.
Do it.
Get older.
Parting words, sir. Let's go.
Well, sir, thank you again. Another great guest. My condolences about your father. I lost
you.
mine a little while back, but just real quickly, I don't know you that well. It seems like you've learned a lot from that, and so I appreciate you for sharing that. I learned a lot about CBD. There's more questions I will have, but I appreciate how you explained in the time that we had that there's just all these things with CBD and versus THT and all that other stuff, but just the benefits. And actually I see you as like one of the pioneers, one of the people that's going to help break the stigma with you doing what you're doing and speaking on that. It takes people a chip away from those hard ingrained stereotypes and stigmas to make people realize hey, that's all right.
Yep.
And it's more than right. I think it has a lot of benefits, especially after listening to you. Love that you're in JITS, and congratulations, you're in Blue Belt. Henzo Gracie and 10th Planet. I have big respect for both of those schools, so you landed in some good spots, and I'm sure they're benefiting from your guidance. And with the word guidance, just like we were saying here, help everyone on their journey. Can't do it alone. I know Christopher likes to talk about, I'm sure he'll talk about again, just another thing for guidance when you're feeling things. I'll let Chris do it. Just ask, and there will be people that will be there for you.
All right. On that note, that is all we have on this episode 30. I love it.
3-0.
And on 3-0. And again, Brian, thank you so much for being here. We love you. We love everything that you brought to this episode. And
I like your sauces more, but that's okay.
oh my God, yeah, the sauce.
I like you, but
Yeah,
I
no,
love
it's
your
fine,
sauce.
man. I'll keep bringing you food, man. I cook way too much, man. I cook way too much. My
Yeah.
wife's yelling at me that I don't eat the leftovers too.
He actually
so.
fed us before this episode. It was awesome.
That was amazing. I am well fed. Sweetheart, I'll eat your food tomorrow at lunch. Yeah.
And on 3, 1, 2, 3. Pinche Podcast.
Não passa nada, ainda raspo de novo prata. Nascida no subúrbio, virou